So Monday, right, was the very first time I went to court, and it was for jury duty. So up to this point, I never seen what an actual courtroom looked like, or whatever the court building looked like, right? Basically, to summarize, right, it was so boring. That's the short end of it. But long story, I received a notice, right, and it said to very explicitly, right, go there at 9:15, and that it would start at 9:15 a.m., right? So Monday morning, I wake up at 7, around 7, and my dad got up as well because he was taking me there. So we had breakfast, got dressed up, we left at around 8:30, and the court area was located in the city, and we had to park in this parking lot that was like one of those parking lots that you have to pay hourly. So it was like, I think it was like $3, I think. $3.50 an hour or something. But my dad didn't stay there though. He went like somewhere else. He just went there to drop me off. But he dropped me off there, and outside the court building, there was like a lot of people there, by the way. There was like a line of people waiting outside because, you know, COVID and all that. And so I stood in there in the line, and on the ground on my feet, there were like these yellow tape that were, you know, roughly 2 meters apart. So, you know, 2 meters social distancing and all that, right? Everyone wore masks. And by the entrance of the door, there were security guards there, decked out in, you know, outfits, and they had like a transparent like welder's mask thing going on, you know, like a barrier to protect themselves from, you know, COVID and all that. But while we were waiting in the line, there was a security guard that was just like, he went down the line and he was just like, jury duty, jury duty, jury duty, jury duty. So basically, you know, are you here for jury duty or are you here for like something else? So yeah, I was like, yeah, jury duty. And he was like, okay. So I don't know if you guys have this app, but we have this app where you basically scan in a QR code that businesses plaster all over their place, right? You scan it, so it's like, so it tells like the government, you know, where you've been and all that, the locations and all that. So we had to do that, and it was my turn on the line, and I went inside. And what you first need to do is, there was a guy sitting on a chair with a table, and first you have to scan in the QR code, right? And then show it to him and be like, oh yeah, I did this, smile, and like, then he asks you what you're here for, and I'm like, yeah, I'm here for jury duty. And then he was like, all right, sick. So like, go through here, go check out over there, and you know, that's all fine and dandy. So then you go through the first entrance and second entrance. It's kind of set up like an airport, and that on the side there's like a really small conveyor belt where you have to put, you know, your bags there and your coat there. So I put my little small fanny pack there, right? And the guy was just like, yep, take your jacket off as well. I wore the that blue denim jacket, you know, that I wore the other day on stream. So I took that off, and he was just like, all right, do you have anything on you? I'm just like, you know, patted myself. I was just like, no, nothing on me. Then he was like, okay, sick. And in front of me, there was like one of those, you know, metal detector doors, right? And there was a camera on top of the door frame. And on the other side, there was a dude, security guard, that was just like, first of all, what he said was, all right, bro, I'm gonna need you to lift up your fringe and walk slowly towards me while looking towards the camera. So I was just like, okay. So I did that, right? I went through, and then he was like, sweet as bro, bloody legend. That was pretty silly. Like, what, do you think I'm gonna like hide something under my fringe? Like, I'm bringing, oh, look out, got a weapon. Yeah, but he was a nice person. Did he offer me any ghost ships? No, unfortunately not. Those got confiscated. But yeah, then so I walked through there. He was like, yeah, sweet ass bro, bloody legend. And then, you know, they gave my my bag and my coat back on a little tray. They were just like, thank you very much. And then another guy asked me like, okay, so what are you here for? So I'm like, oh yeah, I got jury duty. Then he was like, all right, go over there to the left, where there is a small station set up where two ladies, you know, did chicken and all that. So I went there, and they're like, hello, what are you here? What are you in for? And I'm like, illegal gotcha gambling. Oh no, actually like took out my, summons letter and I showed them. They're just like, all right, thank you, redacted. Go wait in the waiting room. Yeah, I know obviously they wanted to, they told me to lift my fringe up so they can see my face fully. I know that, but I'm just, I'm just embellishing here. But yeah, they were just like, thank you, redacted. And then they told me to, proceed over there to the waiting room where everyone else was. So the first thing I did was I went to the toilet. And the toilets are pretty nice actually. They're pretty, obviously they're really clean. They kind of reminded me of the airline toilets. The toilets in the airports? Yeah, they're pretty clean, pretty neat. Everyone was quiet, by the way. In the waiting room, everyone was quiet. And when I was done doing my business, I went out and they were in the middle of doing an introductory thing on the TV. Like, how like on airplanes and airlines, they have like this, instructional video that's just like, please wear your seatbelts. The emergency exits are over there, and the toilets are over there, right? So it's pretty much like that on the display, and it was being like, it sounded like the video looked like one of those typical YouTube like PR like videos, with like Kevin MacLeod music playing in the background. But it was basically like, all right, this is how the court system works. This is how the judge is gonna do. This is what you're gonna do. And then at the end, it was just like, we thank you very much for your patronage and helping with the community. Smile. But yeah, that was it. I missed part of it because I was in the toilet. But I made sure to actually pay attention and listen because I thought it was like super serious because everyone was all quiet and all that. So that ended, and I went to proceed to the waiting area, and they had a lot of like chairs set up and all that, and some couches, and they had like a little tape around areas where you couldn't sit because social distancing. And a supervisor came over us, and he was like, "Test, test, can you hear me? Beep, 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 boop, boop." But yeah, and so at around then, it was 9:15, roughly 9:15, right? And keep in mind, remember, 9:15, it's set to arrive at 9:15 a.m. And by then, it hadn't even started yet. Like, people were literally still coming in. Like, come on, man. I woke up super early. I came here early, on time, and like, they hadn't even started. So we sat there from 9:15 till about like 10, doing nothing. And the guy, the supervisor, I guess, he made an announcement. He was just like, all right, so turns out there's like 2 trials running, and there's a 10 a.m. one and the 11 a.m. one. We're gonna be doing the 11 a.m. one. And so he was just like, oh yeah, from now until 10:45, feel free to just wander around and go to the cafe upstairs and do whatever. So yeah, that was really fun. And at the end of that, there was this lady that was around my age. She was just like, we woke up early for this. She didn't shout it, but yeah, she said that. That was pretty fun. So from 10 till 10:45, I just sat there and did like nothing. I just watched Twitch and all that, and I had my nut bar, the nut bar. And then it was finally 10:45, so we went back. We all reconvened at the area, and he got out this little wooden jack-in-the-box type device for like to draw out names. So it's kind of like lotto, like gambling. So there was about 60 of us, and he drew roughly 32 names from that box. And he said that it was completely random, but I have a feeling that it wasn't random because, I feel like they had to at least rig it sort of to get, a variety of people in there, you know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of people in our group that was like old people. There's a lot of old people there as well, like old people, young people. So I'm like, all right, what am I? I'm an Asian dude that's 25, so I fit in the bill of being an international person and being young as well, So I'm guessing they want some I'm thinking that they probably want some diversity, when it comes to the jurors, right? So he was reading out these names and all that, and then he read out my name. He was like, all right, redacted. And I'm like, yep. And then at the end of that, he was like, all right, the rest of you guys that didn't get called, you can go home. And then finally, we went in there at around 11. We went into an actual courtroom, by the way. We went to an actual courtroom. It was pretty sick. It was like, what if I draw a diagram for you? Imagine this is a top-down view, right? And it was like square. Here's the room, right? Here's another room. Here's a secret room back here, right? This is where the jurors have their meeting, right? Secret meeting. And then they have like the judge sits here, and more people sit here. The defendant sits here. There's more boxes over here. There's a bar here, and people sit behind here, and the jurors sit over here. And over here, there's more like people where there's more area where people sit as well. So like the judge sits here, and then like God, I forgot the names, but like the I think the defendant whatever sits here or something, and more people sit here. The jurors sit over here. Juror sit over here, and here I guess just people. Smile. But yeah, this is kind of how it was set up. And over here, there were two big monitors up here and up here as well. And basically, it was like, right, so it was like a bit past 11, and our supervisor was just like, all right, so we're gonna have to wait again while we wait for the actual judge and stuff to sit up in the room next to us, because, you know, COVID and all that, had to separate rooms. So we sat there for like 30 minutes waiting for the actual court to start, and the guy, the supervisor with us, he had to like find a way to stall for time. You know how like I stall, like how I do like those 1 hour Genshin talks before I actually play any video games. Yeah, it's kind of like that. You had to like stall for time. So he's just like, so how's the weather? He didn't say that, but he was something like that. But then he very explicitly said that the actual judge hearing or the court thing is nothing like video games or movies. So I was very sad about that. So if you were expecting Phoenix Wright type things, yeah, it wasn't like that, unfortunately. I was very upset. I was very sad. I was very angry and I felt betrayed. Roughly about that sign, yeah. But then he was just like, oh yeah, feel free to use our Wi-Fi, our free Wi-Fi. All you need to do is sell your soul. But not really, all you need to do is enter your name and you get free Wi-Fi. But here's the thing. This is what the juror's desk actually looked like. So we have a station, right? We have a desk. This is top-down view. And there's chairs here. There's a chair. And each station has a clipboard. The Bible. There's a Bible, believe it or not, there's a Bible. And then there's a like an orange laminated like paper that says juror here. And on the side here, there's like tissues and, you know, disinfectant and all that, and baby wipes. And there's like a little cup here to throw like trash in. And you sit over here. I sat here. And it wasn't until like nearly 12, right, that another lady came in. And on the monitor, they had it kind of set up as like a Zoom call. There's like a Zoom call, it's like pick up here, there's like decline there, and it was like Twitch chat here. But I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it was Zoom exactly, but it kind of looked like Zoom, I guess. But it was pretty much a camera set up to the actual judge's, you know, courtroom next door. And the guy supervising us, like, he had problems trying to use the remote to like answer the call, and then he was just like me, technology's too hard. But yeah, so then he had to get someone to help him actually like accept the call. So finally, almost 12, the actual court and judge thing got set up, and it was pretty intense. This was when it actually got interesting, by the way. This is when it got interesting. The actual judge thing happened, and there were 3 cameras set up on the monitor. So it's kind of like this. Kind of look like this. It was like 1, 2, and 3, right? All in different angles, showing the actual courtroom next to us. But then it didn't actually start yet. We had to take another like raffle thing, right? To pick 10 people that would actually be the jurors for the actual, the actual court, right? So the, I think the judge's assistant or whatever, they called out 10 random names. My name didn't get called out, but some people went and then some people came back as well. I don't know. There's this thing called like challenge, right? Like if you're challenged, which means like if you know, if your English isn't too good or like there's something affecting your ability to actually be a juror, you have to tell the judge that, and then you can be like exempted. So some people did that. Some people went in and then came out, and after the 10 people, right, got selected, they had to choose a person called the foreman. So kind of like Squid Game, the foreman. But what the foreman does is they essentially kind of speak on behalf of the entire juror. So they kind of like, the speaker, right? So they do like a group discussion, and then like the foreman, they kind of speak for what everyone discussed and all that. So the people went inside this little room behind the judge's desk to discuss this, and it took them a while. It took them a good while, because obviously no one wants to do this. But finally they came out and they chose someone, and before the proceeding can actually proceed, right? The judge's like assistant lady, she called out each of the jurors, right? They got all of them to stand up, hold the Bible, and say "I do," and swear an oath that they will not lie and say "I do." So kind of like marriage. So they're all getting married essentially. But yeah, that's what happened. After that, the judge, they did the formal thing of here's the witnesses and people involved and all that, and like if you know any of these people on the list, do tell us and all that. It wasn't like Phoenix Wright. It was actually really interesting, by the way. Like you had the whole defendant right, and the witness and all that, and the defendant had the whole opening statement and all that. This is what happened on this date and all that, and then the judge read out the actual charges, which I won't go into because that is actually something I'm not allowed to do. They explicitly tell you to turn off your phones and all that, and not talk about this to anyone. So yeah, but chances of the guy getting not guilty, I would say, is pretty low based on the charges that was read. So that happened, and the actual court started, and at that time we were all basically still in the other room, right? The other Ruben? We're basically sitting in the other room that's next to the actual court, right? Just sitting and watching this all pan out on the big screen and all that. And then at that point, the supervisor in our room, they were just like, all right, so for those of you that want to stay and watch, you can, or you can just leave. And literally everyone got up and left super fast, man, and nobody wanted to watch it. And to be honest, I think I would have actually stayed and watched because it was actually pretty interesting. But at that time, my dad was still waiting because he dropped me off, and it had already been like 3 hours since he took me there. So yeah, I ended up having to go. I would have actually stayed and watched it because it was actually really interesting to be there in person and actually see how this whole thing, unraveled. You know what I mean? And then they did the whole thing of, they read the charges and it was just like, you are accused of this charge. Do you plead guilty or not guilty and all that? Yeah, it was very interesting to see. And then, yeah, everyone packed their things up and left. I don't know what happened to the case or if it's done yet. And then we went out. And then I got picked up by my dad. And the last thing I saw was a kind of like fountain thingy outside the court station, right? And there was a lot of seagulls just like flapping around there, taking a shower, taking a bath and all that. It was pretty cute, actually. I would have taken some photos, but there's a sign outside the court building saying, no photos allowed around the premises. So yeah, that was the story of my first ever courtroom session, everybody. Thanks for listening. I don't think I missed out anything. Would I have done it again? I don't know. Well, it was pretty interesting. It was just the fact that you had to be there super early and literally nothing happened for like 3 hours. So from like 9 a.m. to like 12 p.m. nothing happened. And the actual like exciting cool thing only happened for like 5 minutes at the end. So that was fun. I'm still on call? Okay, so I didn't get picked for the official 10, but what I need to do is every day, at least for this week, when it's past 5:30 p.m., I need to check online on their website to see if I need to go in like next day. So this happened on Monday, and on Tuesday and Wednesday, so yesterday and today, I checked online and they said that people summoned for this week don't need to go. So yeah, I haven't need to go.